YouTube, what's good? It's your boy. I pull up to the house, or Paul, and I'm bringing you this late commentary on Wednesday night, going into Thursday morning. Um, the footage is just some of my offline association. I'm playing with another friend that actually lives next door, so pay that none over mind. Just enjoy the commentary and enjoy the footage. This is not one of my series or anything. Speaking of my series, I'll have some association rebuilding a contender, and then some more Kenny Tyler coming out this weekend. But let's get to today's commentary. I'm actually bringing you my thoughts, predictions, some rumors if you hadn't heard of them for the upcoming 2013 NBA draft. I'm really excited. It's just like the NBA, not so much Major League Baseball, but I always get excited around this time of year for drafts because that's when all the rumors come out of left field. All the wheeling and dealing gets done. It's very exciting. Free agency is pending or is looming. I want to say Monday night. Teams can start signing contracts. I believe it's the first or the 10th. I'm not totally sure. Don't quote me on that. But I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm a Lakers fan, so I'm definitely interested in what my team's gonna do because I want D12 to come back, even though it may not be for the best for us as far as him leading the team to the next generation without Kobe. But we'll see what happens. But anyway, let's get right into it. The NBA draft is tomorrow, Thursday, starting at about 7 o'clock or so, and there's so much that can and may happen between now and then, and that's not even 18 hours away. It's crazy at the time of this recording, and it's nuts. Start with the number one pick. Let's see, the Cleveland Cavaliers hold the first pick in the draft, and I wouldn't call it a slam dunk, but a lot of the analysts do have them taking Nerlens Noel, the center from the University of Kentucky, a long athlete, kind of in the mold of an Anthony Davis, but not so much. Very limited offensively, but just a prodigy defensively. The kid averaged like 4.5 blocks a game before he tore his ACL, which is pretty serious stuff. I mean, he was on his way to winning Freshman of the Year honors more than likely, and he tore his ACL in February, I believe. So he won't even be available for whatever team drafts him until about December or so. So who knows? That's why there's so many rumors swirling around that they definitely they want to move the pick or trade down. They're just not sold completely on Noel in the estimation of a lot of pundits and experts. So first trade rumor that I've heard was that Cleveland had offered the number one pick, Dion Waiters, and what was it? It was the first pick, Waiters, and they have the 19th pick as well, I believe. They offered that to Minnesota for Kevin Love. My thoughts are, wow, that would be an incredible deal. I think I've heard that Minnesota said no, but that would be an incredible deal to pair a budding superstar in Kyrie Irving with a double-double machine, a star in his own right, and Kevin Love. That'd be crazy to go along with Thompson. He may have been involved in the trade talks as well, but that would be quite a haul for Minnesota. They'd be losing their franchise player, but in my opinion, I think he's gone anyway. Once his contract expires, so I would try to trade him when his value can't get any higher. I mean, they may do something at the deadline next year, but I doubt it. But that's one deal I heard. Another deal I heard involving the first pick. The Bulls have been shopping Luol Deng, their all-star small forward, for the number one pick. I've also heard them trying to trade him for the third pick with Washington, but that has been debunked by some guys from the Wizards camp. But if the Bulls were to swing the first pick, they would more than likely take Victor Oladipo, the do-it-all guard from Indiana, who's drawn a lot of comparisons to Dwayne Wade. When Dwayne Wade came out of college, he wasn't the slam dunk all-star that he is right now, but he had a lot of potential, a lot of athleticism, a great motor, and played pretty good defense. Now Oladipo is a much better long-range shooter. He actually shot 40% from three, albeit the college three, but still 40% is pretty damn decent at any level. So getting him, that would give the Bulls, assuming Derrick Rose is healthy, a legit shooting guard on the wing to play along with him, along with Jimmy Butler, who would move to starter after Luol Deng departs via the trade, and Carlos Boozer and and Joakim Noah. That'd be a very formidable lineup. I think the Bulls want to do that because they're always going to play second fiddle to the Heat in the Eastern Conference for as long as D Wade and LeBron are running things. But Jimmy Butler did a great job guarding LeBron in the playoffs, and the addition of Oladipo would only improve their chances of slowing down Dwayne Wade as well. So that'd be a crazy deal. I definitely am very interested in seeing what Cleveland's got in mind for their upcoming moves. What else did I hear? I've also heard that Orlando is looking to acquire Eric Bledsoe from the Clippers for a Flalo, which would definitely alter their draft situation as well. Because if they were to go ahead and acquire, Eric Bledsoe, he would solve their point guard needs. He'd be their point guard of the future, so there'd be no need to consider Trey Burke, who's been going to Orlando in a lot of different mock drafts. So if nothing happens at 1 and Nerlens Noel is gone, then if the Clippers and the Magic do hook up on this trade, then Oladipo definitely comes into play at the 2 spot as well. So who knows? I mean, a lot of different things can happen. Also, if Nerlens Noel is gone at number 1, you can see Alex Len. It's a name of he's climbed up a lot of different draft boards. He's a big man out of Maryland, 7'1", about 230 or so. So he still needs to put a little bit of meat on his bones, but he's a big guy, great footwork, and he can finish around the basket with both hands, which is definitely optimal. Alex Len, I think, would fit in with Orlando because they've got some other big men that are pretty good. Nicholson is pretty decent. He was a first-round pick of theirs last year. Who else do they have? They've got Vucevic, who is also a double-double machine, but can also use some more seasoning. So, I mean, you can never have too many big men who can finish and get rebounds and play tough defense. So, I mean, I wouldn't rule it out. Let's see, who's next up? Number 3 pick, the Wizards. If they don't deal that pick for Luol Deng to the Bulls, they can go a lot of different ways. Otto Porter is currently listed on ESPN.com's mock draft. He's a small forward from Georgetown. He's listed at about 6'9", but he actually came to the combine at about 6'7.5", but still a pretty big guy to play small forward, and he would fit another need of theirs in Washington. They have needs everywhere. I mean, they've got Okafor's deal is set to expire, but he's going to be penciled in as their center if they don't find a way to get rid of him. They've got Nene as well. I think they've got Ariza still. So, I mean, they're just looking to add some more pieces to pair with John Wall, who, if he can finally get healthy for an entire season, he can definitely make some strides. And this is actually a kind of a contract year for him. He's going to be a restricted free agent after the next season, so he's definitely going to play his best, more than likely. I've also heard that Anthony Bennett from UNLV, who's just a man-child, who's garnered a lot of comparisons to Larry Johnson. Those of you who aren't old enough to remember or know of Larry Johnson, that's Grandmama, a beast, crazy athlete until he hurt his knees before going to the Knicks later on in his career. But it's a very good comparison, definitely not a negative. Bobcats are picking at 4. ESPN also has them picking Alex Len if he's available. What I've heard, which is kind of crazy to me, is that Michael Kidd-Gilchrist is on the market, which is nuts. I mean, I can't believe that they took him last year, at the number 2 pick, and they're ready to trade him already. But it's not the NFL where top 5 picks are owed a lot of money and they're drafting based on potential. A lot of busts can come from the top 5 in the NFL. But there are, there's some sure things in there too. NBA-wise, they're not paid as much to par with the superstars in the league. So, they can afford to trade them. You saw last year, Thomas Robinson got traded from Sacramento not even 2/3 of the way through his first season. So you just never know. So Michael Kidd Gilchrist, they're shopping him. Maybe, who knows? I'm not sure what's going on with him. Phoenix, they can go in a lot of different directions. If Bennett's available, they can snap him up. If Oladipo falls, I'm sure they wouldn't mind grabbing him. Ben McLemore, who was considered a number one pick possibility, not so much anymore. A lot of rumors have been out that he didn't work out really hard at different stops in Cleveland and Phoenix and Orlando. But he's you can't doubt the talent. He's a great guy, a great skill player. He's a guard. He can play a little one, but mainly the two. He's 6'5", and he's a great scorer, great stroke. Um, he can shoot the three. He's got great athleticism. So that can be a pick as well. Alex Len would make a lot of sense with Gortat being a little older. No, he's only like 29, but I don't think he's very happy in Phoenix, and he kind of wants out. And you can kind of tell in his play last year. So Phoenix can also make some noise if they want to get a point guard, which means they've already, kind of thrown the guy they grabbed last year. What's his name from Carolina? Uh, Damn, I just had it on the tip of my tongue. Point guard. Man, I'll come back to it. It'll come to me like a minute later when I'm talking about something else, and it'll make me mad. But anyway, Kendall Marshall. They drafted him last year, and I was a big fan of his coming out of college because just like Kenny Tyler, well, my player, he's a pass first point guard who just finds teammates, but he just struggled. Couldn't one knock against him coming out of college was that he had no kind of jump shot, and he definitely did not disprove that at all. So who knows? Michael Carter Williams from Syracuse will definitely be available. I don't see him being the first point guard taken, but who knows? Which leads me to my next one. Trey Burke is penciled in the latest mock drafts to the New Orleans Pelicans. Shout out D Coop, big fan of New Orleans. Not me. They're rebuilding. They're definitely on their way to something. I'm not sure what, but they're getting there. They're making all the right moves. Speaking of the Pelicans, I've actually heard a lot of different rumors as well with them involving the number one pick. If they can move up to one, who would they take? They wouldn't take Noel because they already have a defensive-minded center with a much better offensive game already in Anthony Davis. Maybe they would grab a point guard. My pick would be Oladipo for them as well. I'm not an Eric Gordon fan, and they would probably have to package him and the number 6 pick in the draft to move up to one. So with him out of the way, Oladipo would slide in there and do pretty well. They'd have two defensive stalwarts, one on the inside, one on the outside. So who knows? And then if they stick to 6, if Anthony Bennett's there, I'm sure they would snap him up in a minute because he'd be a great addition to the squad to go along with Anthony Davis down low. And don't sleep on Grievous Vasquez. He's actually a pretty decent point guard. Puts up good numbers, and he's huge. He's like 6'6", playing point guard, and he just makes plays, man. I've also heard the Pelicans may try to get Rondo. I'm not sure how, and this is just standard ESPN.com or SB Nation stuff where rumors come out of nowhere sometimes. But Rondo in a Pelicans uniform would be crazy. He's my favorite point guard in the league. I model Kenny Tyler, my player. I model his game after Rondo's, and seeing him leave Boston would be something else. But with all the things going on in Boston, they just lost Doc, KG, another rumor I'll discuss in a little while. But KG maybe on his way out. Pierce is probably more than likely going to get bought out for $5 million. They're not going to pay him $15 million to come back. So, who knows? The Pelicans are trying to make noise. The fans are excited. I know Coop's excited. I know he's excited about this draft and about the off season and what's going to happen leading to next year. New logo, new colors. So we'll see. Good luck to them. We'll see what's going on with the Pelicans. Holler at me middle of the season next year to see where they're at. Now, moving on to the Sacramento Kings. They're picking 7th. Let's see. Who do they got? I've heard some rumors with them as well. Jimmy Fredette is definitely on his way out. Somebody's going to trade for him, I'm sure, at the bottom of the first round. They're looking to get rid of him. It was kind of, weird they took him anyway when they got him a couple years back. I didn't understand that at all. But, whatever. When you already have Tyreek Evans and guys like, who else do they have? The guy I used to play with New Orleans. Marcus Thornton, another gunner. Uh, guys like that. DeMarcus Cousins, who shoots threes, just for the fun of it, I guess. Why you add another scorer or not, just like a pure point guard or another post player or something. I'm not sure why they did that. They need a point guard that can score, take guys off the dribble as well as distribute. And they have C.J. McCollum from Lehigh penciled in. He's a 6'3" point guard, so great size. And they need somebody who can get his own shot but can also you know, find guys in transition and orchestrate the half-court offense as well. So we'll see what's going on with him. Now, the 8th pick in the draft belongs to the Detroit Pistons. And the last few years, they have been one of the luckiest teams in the game. Excuse me for a second, I'm going to get a drink of water. But they've been one of the luckiest teams in the game as far as their drafting because guys have fallen to them each of the last 3 years. 2010, Monroe fell to him. Brandon Knight went 7th to him in 2011 when he was expected to go as high as 1 in the Kyrie Irving draft. And last year they got Andre Drummond at, I believe, 10 when he could have been a top 5 pick as well. And it's panned out. All the guys have been pretty decent. Brandon Knight, except for getting crossed up and broken down by Kyrie in the futures game, he's been pretty decent as well. I think they need to get rid of Stuckey because he's just stunting the growth of all the young guys there because he's not good and he still gets a lot of shots up. But if for some reason Anthony Bennett falls to them at 4, holy shit. This guy, I mean, he could play the 3 as well. He's listed at power forward, 6'8", 240, but he's got the handle of a 3, not LeBron-esque or anything at the 3 spot. But he can still put the ball on the floor and score. He can actually stretch the floor and play in the post. He can hit jump shots. He can jump hooks. He can bang with bigger guys. And they're in a position where they can take the best player available just because they've got pretty good guys at all parts of the floor. Point guard, they're not really set with Brandon Knight, but he's their guy. Drummond and Monroe are the Twin Towers already. And then adding a guy in the 6'8", Bennett would be crazy. Trey Burke, if he's still there, will be another point guard. I'm not really a fan of Michael Carter-Williams just because Syracuse guards, for some reason, do not work out. They just don't. Johnny Flynn, it's just not a good look to go after Syracuse guards. Not to be discriminatory or anything like that. It just has not worked out. Now, number 9, one of the more busier teams expected in this coming draft and offseason is going to be the Minnesota T-Wolves. Picking at 9, they're slated to take Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, KCP. My boy Virus is a big fan of his. But, they may not be picking there at 9. They could be trading up. They could be trading down. They can be trading out of the draft completely to pick up assets. Who knows what they do. Another deal that's proposed, and I don't think they've gotten a response yet. But they're looking to find a way to move up as high as possible to get Oladipo probably. They will package their number 9 and 26 pick and Derek Williams. And Derek Williams was the number 2 pick in the 2011 draft with Kyrie Irving. And he was considered by some the sure thing, quote unquote, in that draft. And so far he hasn't really panned out to be, like a top 3 type talent. But he averaged like 13 last year, showed some flashes of potential. So we'll see what happens. If they move that 9, 26, and Derek Williams package to somebody, I think somebody in the top 5 or so may bite on it. In the case that Oladipo's there, let's say he doesn't make it or he falls to 5 to Phoenix, I don't see why they wouldn't make that deal. I mean, they need help everywhere. Michael Beasley's not great. Gortat definitely wants out. Kendall Marshall hasn't worked out so far at the point. But they have Dragic, so I mean, they're pretty decent at point guard. Oladipo, moving up to get him at the 5 spot in the draft would definitely be prime for them if it happens. So we'll definitely see. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, 6'6" guard from Georgia. I think I've heard him. He's a pretty good shooter, and he's got some great athleticism as well. Next, this one, in my opinion, was one of the dumber mocks. I'm reading ESPN.com while I do this commentary. Michael Carter-Williams going to Portland. It makes no sense to me. He's a point guard. They already have a point guard who happened to win Rookie of the Year last year. I don't see why picking another point guard, even though Carter Williams is 6'6". He's a natural point guard. He distributes and his jumper is okay. He finds a way to score here and there. Um, I don't see why they would pick him. My thoughts would be that a guy like Cody Zeller, even though they already got a white center last year, and Myers Leonard, I'm not sure why they would take him at 10. Carter Williams, I mean, it doesn't make sense. Who would I take at 10? If he's available, C.J. McCollum, because he would kind of be kind of an off guard because he's a great scorer as well. Shabazz Muhammad, once you get to 10, it's not really drafted. It's not really considered a bust because outside of the top 6 or 7 picks, anything after that is gravy if you can hit a good guy and hit on a good pick. So who knows? Cody Zeller could be could be an opportunity to grab him. He's a legit 7 foot. I made the comment about white centers, but actually, I mean, if you just read the runoff of his measurables from the combine, you'd be like, man, this dude's a beast. He actually measured out as one of the more athletic 7-footers that has ever been recorded since I started doing, the measurements at the draft combine. I'm not sure how long they've been doing it, but I read that somewhere that he had one of the better workouts in recent memory or history, period. And wow, this thing's already gotten to 20 minutes. It's crazy. If you're still listening, thank you so much. I'm going to speed through a little bit quicker. 11 is the Sixers. More than likely, they're going to let Bynum walk. Bynum was awful this year as far as his inability to play, period. Haven't heard a lot of rumors out of them. They may just stand pat and pick a guy like Zeller to replace Bynum, a legit 7-footer who can score and is a lot more athletic than Bynum is, but definitely not as girthy, not as big. Number 12 pick in the draft, and this is I'm sure gonna be bound to change. OKC picked this. They picked this pickup from the Raptors, or actually as part of the trade that sent I believe it was the James Harden deal that sent him to Houston. But they're penciled in to take somebody named Steven Adams. Never heard of him. Center from Pittsburgh. They definitely could use another big man because they're pretty set in their backcourt and on the wing as far as KD and I've heard that Kevin Martin wants to re-sign for cheap. He doesn't mind playing for cheap since he's made a ton of money. He just wants to win. And Westbrook, assuming he's back from injury as the season begins. So a big man definitely could help them. I don't like Perkins. Ibaka's more of a stretch for. He wants to shoot jump shots and three-pointers, and he plays great weak side defense, but he's not, a lockdown defender in the post. I've heard they want to move up as high as number 1. I'm not sure how they would do that, but I've heard some deals proposed where they can get in the top 5 by packaging this pick and Kendrick Perkins and their other pick in the first round, moving to the top 5. So a team desperate for assets like a Minnesota, like a Sacramento, could definitely trade with OKC to let them move up. So who knows? We're definitely going to see. 13th pick, the most likely pick to be traded tomorrow. That belongs to the Mavericks. They don't really want to, pay the money slotted for the 13th pick in the draft because they want to make a run at Chris Paul and Dwight Howard, Josh Smith, etc. They're penciled in to take Sergei Karasev, a sweet shooting, big 6'7" forward from Russia. But in recent memory, those Russian guys haven't really panned out. Alexei Shved from Minnesota did not do very well last year. He hit a rookie wall very early. The Jazz pick at 14, Lucas Nogueira from Brazil, 7-footer, nicknames Baby. Big guy, big afro. He's pretty raw. Grantland.com did a mock as well when they kind of broke down all the international players in this draft, and he averaged something like 5 points, 3 boards in like 11 minutes for the Brazilian league. So you just never know what you're going to get out of this guy. But the Jazz are running the risk of losing Al Jefferson and Paul Millsap. So they may just want to pick up a young big man to pair up with Derek Favors and Enes Kanter, get some depth. But I wouldn't be surprised if they picked up a guard like a Marcus Carter Williams. He'd probably fit in there. I don't see Trey Burke falling that far to 14, but you never know. Stranger things have happened. But I definitely think that they need to hit on this pick, just because it's time for Utah to do something. Once they lost D. Will and Jerry Sloan in the matter of a couple weeks, a couple years ago, they haven't done really much of anything. They fought for the 8th seed last year, missing it on the last day of the season. They made the playoffs at the 8th seed the year before. So, Utah fans are used to, top 4 seeds and playoff berths and advancing, and they haven't done it in recent memory, so they need to do something. Milwaukee Bucks, they've got a lot of different ways they can go. Monte Ellis opted out of his contract. They can grab a guard. Shane Larkin has been rumored to be taken there at 15. He's the point guard, son of Barry Larkin, Hall of Fame shortstop for the Reds. But I don't know. Not much really has come out of Milwaukee. Glenn Rice Jr. could be available, or should be available. Could be an option, or another guy who's going to be a strong consideration for pick number 16. His name is Dennis Schrader, black guy from Germany. Was crazy measurable, 6'2", pretty small though, about 160. Little guy, but he has a 6'7" wingspan. He's drawn a lot of comparisons to Rondo because he has long arms, long hands, big hands, and he's very fast. So Dennis Schrader, keep an eye on that guy. He may be a sleeper in this draft. Point guard who can play defense. His passing is definitely coming into question though, which kind of garners questions as to why he was compared to Rondo. But who knows? 17 and 18 both belong to the Atlanta Hawks, who are looking to make some noise as well. They want to definitely go after Chris Paul and Dwight Howard. So they may trade one of these picks to save the cap space instead of using it on a rookie. Or they may go the route of picking a guy like Shabazz Muhammad. Reggie Bullock is available, another shooter. And then a guy from Greece, Giannis Antetokounmpo, a guy they may stash overseas just so they can keep his money off the books and then let him develop. So Atlanta's definitely got an opportunity to grab some contributors early on at the 17-18 pick. 19 is the second pick of the Cleveland Cavaliers, which may be traded as well. This is one of those picks when it comes to this point on all the way to the end of the first round. You can start to take chances. Reggie Bullock's also rumored to go here as well. Another shooter. He had 44% of his threes last year with the Tar Heels. So he may be a good pick. I've also heard they may deal this pick with Dallas to get Sean Marion and to move up to 13 to grab somebody else they may be coveting. So the big names in this draft, or the big players in this draft, potentially could be teams like Cleveland, Minnesota, the Bulls, who pick at 20. They could do some things. I would like to see them get a guy like Withy from Kansas, another big guy. Could definitely fill the role that was vacated by Omer Ashik, a big guy who blocks shots. Mason Plumlee is another guy who's been mocked a few times to the Bulls. I don't know why. I'm not a fan of either Plumlee, Miles, or Mason. But who knows? They could also go for a guard as well. If they don't make a deal to move up and get a guy like Oladipo, they could, sit back and draft their, not so much their point guard of the future, but just some more depth. They have Marcus Teague, but he's all right. Isaiah Canaan, who's also rumored to go to Utah with the next pick at 21, their second pick of the first round. But Isaiah Canaan from Murray State is another guy who can score. He's got great speed. France has a bigger guy, Rudy Gobert, who's a good shooter with great hands and great footwork, who may go here as well. So that's 20 and 21. 22 is the Nets. I mentioned earlier a potential rumor with KG, and that rumor was KG may go to the Nets. I think, and that would be something. He'd have to waive his no trade clause, but at this point they're getting rid of everybody. Doc is gone. They're shopping Rondo possibly. Pierce is more than likely he's going to be gone. So maybe they get a first rounder for KG, the 22nd pick, and they take somebody else. Boston can get as many as maybe 3 first rounders in this draft. Who knows? I mean, I'm looking forward to it because Boston is a team I love to hate. Just because as a Laker fan, they're our hated rival, whatever. But if New Jersey doesn't move the 22nd pick, Kelly Olynyk from Gonzaga, Really good guy. Definitely not in the mold of Adam Morrison as far as guys who come from the Zags that haven't done anything. This guy's a legit 7 foot. Can finish at the basket. Plays average defense, but when you're 7 feet tall, you can still alter a few shots. I've heard Dieng, the long, inexperienced big man from Louisville, could go here as well. Moving on, 23 is a pick that I think Indiana's not going to make. I think this is one of those picks that could go for Jimmer Fredette. They needed shooting so bad in the playoffs last year. While he's not a very good point guard prospect, Jimmer Fredette would fill a big need, a shooter that can come off the bench and just light it up when he gets the opportunity. Roy Hibbert took some big steps in the postseason, dominating against the Knicks and the Heat, and he may ride that momentum into next year to where he garners a lot of double teams, leaving guys like Paul George open and Danny Granger if he's healthy and back on the team, and then, say a Jimmer or something. So who knows? New York Knicks pick at 24. They're cap struck, so they could possibly deal a pick as well or go for some guys in the front court. A guy named Tony Mitchell. I've never heard of him, but I've seen some clips and heard some good things. He's an athletic, very athletic small forward, listed at 6'9", about 240. So he can move to the 4 spot as well and give them some valuable minutes now that Rasheed Wallace is retiring, and who else do they have? Marcus Camby, he'll be gone more than likely. I think he was on a 1-year deal. So and maybe Tim Hardaway Jr. goes here. They could lose J.R. Smith in free agency, so I could definitely see them taking Tim Hardaway Jr. as well, the son of legendary shake-up man, point guard Tim Hardaway from the Miami Heat and the Golden State Warriors way back when. 26th pick belongs to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and who knows what they're gonna do. Chances are they try to deal this pick to move up in the draft. They could also use a guy like Jimmer Fredette, trade that pick for him, and just add. Although he's not really proven, he's played more minutes in the NBA than any of these rookies, obviously. So he's a more proven commodity than they are. He can knock down shots, as evidenced by what he did at BYU, and he's shown some flashes. If not, they can go the route of getting Dieng, who I mentioned earlier, would be 6'11", can play probably not center, but he's not a power forward either. So he'd probably line up at the center spot to back up Pekovic, who's actually a restricted free agent. So we'll see how that plays out as well. Now, the 27th pick in the draft belongs to the Nuggets. They have a brand new coach in Brian Shaw. Congrats to him. As a Laker fan, I was pretty excited to see him get a job finally, so that's what's up. And they could be losing Iggy, so a few different drafts I've seen on Yahoo and ESPN have them grabbing Alan Krabby. He's a 6'6" guard from Cal who's a good shooter and will be a good fit in that high-powered offense. Let's see, 28 will be the Spurs, who can do whatever they want. There's this guy, Rudy Gobert, who I explained earlier, 7'2" actually, from France, and they can go the Thiago Splitter route and draft him, stash him overseas, and let him build his game up a little bit, as well as keeping his money off the books, which would be pretty optimal for them. Because another rumor I've heard, this video was stocked full of them. Another rumor I've heard is that the Spurs could be a dark horse and picking up Josh Smith. Smooth could be going to the Spurs. That would be nuts. If they found a way, say if Splitter leaves, he's a restricted free agent. If Splitter goes and they find a way to get some more money off the books, they would have just enough to offer him maybe a little bit less than the max, but an opportunity to win a championship. So I think he would take that. And with a guy like Greg Popovich and Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu, all those guys down there who've been there, who have bought into the system in San Antonio, that would be a crazy pickup. But 28th pick, Rudy Gobert, keep an eye on him. He's one of my sleepers of this draft. I've seen some pretty limited highlights on him, but he's big. You can't teach 7'2". He's not very athletic, but neither is Splitter. But they both can bang, and he's got extreme length, which was awesome. And they're gonna need some length because Tim Duncan can't play forever, even though he looked like it when he was playing in the finals. OKC picks at 29. A lot of things they can do here. A guy I've heard of, Ricky Lato, 6'6" guard from Providence, could go there. He's a shooting guard with a decent stroke. And this could also be a pick they can trade out of for future picks from somebody else or a team looking to move back up from the beginning of round 2 back into round 1. So OKC could be a player in this draft. They've got the 12th and 29th picks if they want. They may be able to move inside the top 10 with just those picks and maybe a guy like Perkins or some of the assets they got last year. They got Jeremy Lamb last year, and he may not be in their future plans, so they definitely may want to move him. Who knows? You know, that can definitely be a situation that could occur. Tony Snell is predicted to go to the Phoenix Suns with the final pick of the first round. He's from New Mexico, 6'7", almost 200 pounds, but he's got great length, long arms. I think he has a crazy wingspan, like 7'1" or something. So a guy they can develop into a defensive stopper who's got a decent jump shot as well. You never know, but if they were to pick up a guy like McLemore at the 5th pick, they may not go the route of getting another shooting guard. They may take a risk on a guy like Deng, a project who can rebound and block shots and protect the rim, because guys like Gortat, you know, while he does block a lot of shots, he's not really what you would consider a game changer on the defensive end as far as altering a lot of shots. But he does block some, you know. So even though that doesn't kind of make sense, you know, picking up another guy like Deng would make sense if he falls that far, because he is kind of a project anywhere in this draft. Because you know he didn't do a lot at Louisville. Plus he's 23, so he's older than a lot of these draft prospects. So who knows? I'm looking forward to it though. A lot of stuff can go down between now and then. As you see in the video, if you're watching the footage, we're about a minute left in the game, inside a minute to go. We're gonna wrap this game up though, as we actually did a pretty good job shutting down Kobe in this league, and I may actually be extending invitations to subscribers, or if you want to get down in this league. It's just me and my boy Kevin right now, and we're just using our 2 teams. So I'll get up with him and see if that's something you guys want to do, or if that's something he wants to do as well. But I got a little bit longer to talk before the video wraps up. So there's a few different prospects that are available that may not be first rounders, but can be great pickups for teams in the second round, or could sneak in the end of the first round. One guy would be a Seth Curry, little bro to beast, playoff extraordinaire, my team king, Steph Curry from Duke. Great jump shooter, not as good as Steph, of course, but he definitely could be a good pickup, could provide some decent minutes. And if you all remember, Danny Green was a second rounder as well. And you see what he did in the finals, the first 5 games at least. So he's a guy that could be picked up. Who else? Glenn Rice Jr. I've heard him slipping out of the first round a few different times. Who else? I can't think of anybody else right now. Sorry. But yeah, this is going to be a pretty interesting draft, just because there's going to be a lot of different scenarios that play out. You know, what if Cleveland trades the number 1 pick? Then what happens there? What if Washington trades the number 3 pick? You know, whoever moves up, what are they getting? How does that affect the landscape of the remainder of the draft? Minnesota can be big players in this thing. What happens if they start wheeling and dealing? They get rid of Derek Williams and they find a way to move up to a top 3 pick to get Oladipo, you know, or if they decide to trade up and maybe take Alex Len, because, you know, Nikola Pekovic is a restricted free agent, and I've heard that, you know, I've mentioned it a lot. I've heard a lot of stuff. I read a lot, and, you know, I read through the grapevine, listen to Rick Bucher and all those guys, read SB Nation every day. But I've heard that Minnesota could be in another bidding war with Portland for restricted free agent Pekovic. You know, they may be just trying to jack the price up because they're still kind of pissed that they couldn't get Nicholas Batum from them last year. And also they had a deal that went sour with I believe it was Martell Webster. They made a deal with one another, trading Martell Webster to Minnesota, I believe, and it came back that he had like really bad back and spine problems, and they've been kind of going back and forth with each other ever since, Minnesota and Portland, that is. So you just never know. One deal could swing the course of the entire draft. and that is the most exciting part. As you see, we get the W. Player of the game was Kevin Love. This commentary has gone on for almost 40 minutes. If you managed to stick to this whole thing, I appreciate that so much. Don't forget to leave a like in the video. Let me know what you think, who your favorite team is and who they should draft, trade for, etc. What do you think about some of these proposed picks of mine, along with some of the picks that were made by ESPN.com experts? But I'm going to get up out of here. Leave a comment, subscribe if you're new. Welcome to the channel. If you're a returning sub, thank you so much. But this is your boy. I pull up to the house with my longest commentary to date. I'm going to get up out of here. It's 1 a.m. I got to